All right. Call the meeting to order. Jen, will you do roll, please?
Commissioner Delser?
Here.
Commissioner Erickson?
Here.
Commissioner Waldner? Commissioner Abraham?
Here.
Mayor Lindsay?
Here. Okay, you have attached the meetings from October 28th. Are there any additions or corrections?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from October 28th.
So- We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approve the minutes and that, or the agenda for tonight's meeting. And one thing on there is number 3 in new business, and that would like to be postponed from this meeting. So if there's no objection, I'd ask someone to consider that.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Appearances and acknowledgements and correspondence. I see Julie Gross is here from the Lake Area Improvement Corporation for an update. So if you wouldn't mind up to the microphone for the benefit of the people at home that are listening to it.
All right. Well, thank you for allowing me to continue giving my updates. Things are going good. We've been staying very busy. One of the biggest things, I think, since I was last year is Industry Avenue, which would be between, just to the east of Global Palmer, is now finished. The road is complete. There's some seeding to be done on the side, but that was a nice thing to get done, and it just made that land to the east much more valuable, so we're really excited about that. I was out there today with someone. We are potentially going to apply for it to be a certified ready park, which is something we do through the GUED office, and so we have to have a phase 1 done on the whole industrial park, and so we're working towards that. So that was nice, and he was thrilled with the road and just commented how much more valuable that land is because we have that road. So also, since I was last here, Rosebud has expanded and Finn City has opened, which is both have created a few new jobs in town. We had a South Dakota Manufacturing Week, and we had some tours in town here. I know you attended some of the tours on October 3rd and 4th, and so we're hoping that next year it will even be bigger. It was the first year that South Dakota ever did this, so we hope that maybe we'll have more tours. We had 4. We had a decent attendance, but hopefully we'll get more people to spend next year. We hosted a jobs caravan along with Advantage South Dakota, and the mayor was kind enough to come and speak. We had some employment agencies that came to town, and we had some employers there, just letting them know that you don't always have to recruit for jobs in Sioux Falls. You can look outside of Sioux Falls. We're a great little town too. And so they went from here, they went to Millbank, they went to Aberdeen, and Huron, Mitchell, and Yankton. So, and it's part of this group that we belong to, Advantage South Dakota. So that was good, and thank the mayor for having to speak. I've had 3 hostings in the last 2 months, which is exciting. One of them wanted a specific size building that we didn't have. The other 2, things are going well with them. One of them I think is going to move to another town in the area. The other one, I've been working closely with Chad on. It really shows a lot to them when I can call upon the people of the city and say, oh, you should talk to this person and this person. We even actually met with Chad when he was here. He's been here twice, and he's meeting with some people from South Dakota tomorrow, and he'll be back later this month. So hopefully things are continuing in the right direction there. And when I had them to town, actually the first time one of the owners came, and the second time the second owner came, and it was really fun to take them because of all the dirt being moved. You know, it was Bethel on one side, the hospital on the other. It's exciting to show, and people are really wowed by all of that. Housing, the mayor and I just talked about that. They broke ground this last weekend. They have whole maybe just west of what's the trailer?
Flynfield and
Madison,
yes.
Yeah.
Madison Acres.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's very exciting. And there will be 2 14-unit complexes. So I thank you for your part that you played in that and getting the tip for the county. And Lloyd Companies is building it. They're using local contractors. There's locals over there that are building it, and we'll have the majority will be locally owned. So that's very exciting. Just continuing to work with other expansions. Thank you as usual for your support. support. We love having Scott on board, that's very nice. Jen and I have had to work on different things together from equipment purchases, and so I appreciate her and all the assistance, she gives us. And of course Chad, I lean on Chad's office heavily, and I appreciate that he's always there and helps and responds with emails, and right now he's in, like I said, the middle of conversations with this prospect, which is great, because that way I'm not giving the wrong information, he's getting the correct information, so it says a lot, especially to this particular prospect, it really says a lot to them. They're very happy, because I think where they're at, they don't work, it's an out-of-state, but they don't always work together with their city very well, so when they're coming to a place and they work well, it says it.
Mhm.
So, that's pretty much what's going on.
Very good. Thank you.
You're ready for snow removal?
Okay.
I met
Yes.
him on the road today, and he was out there driving the road to make sure that we're all okay for snow. We don't want to have you to be out there very soon, but.
We don't want to be there either, so.
So.
Did I
any-
understand correctly, you said you enjoyed having Scott?
And we do enjoy having him.
I thought maybe I heard that wrong.
He's a great help. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to call or contact me. Or stop by. You know, I
Very
come
good.
to you.
Mhm, yes, yeah. And it is exciting in Madison right now. It really is. So,
Good place to live.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. If there aren't any other questions, I thank you.
Thank you.
We all
Thanks,
thank you.
Julie.
Okay. Knowledge application for a temporary alcohol license, White-Headed Robin Winery. Jen, do we have anyone here who would want to speak to that, or Jen, do you want
I will.
to address it? Okay.
This is a temporary alcohol license for this White-Headed Robin Winery. A little bit different beast than what we've seen in the past, however, needs to go through the same process. They simply want to be a vendor at the annual Chamber Show and Sell, which is going to be held on November 30th. As per the state, my discussions with the State Department of Revenue, this is the same process. We will acknowledge the temporary license this evening, set a date of hearing for 2 weeks from
November
tonight.
18th would be the date?
Yep, and all will be in order by November 30th when they want to be in town here. They will provide samples of their wine to patrons and then also have their bottles of wine for sale at the show and sell.
So it's not really an on-sale license then? They're selling,
It falls under the temporary license. There's 4 different sections of temporary licenses. This is specific to wine.
right, but they're not going to be serving. I mean, there'll be samples, but they're not going to be pouring glasses.
Correct. Samples, there's a whole codified law as to what is a sample. It has to be X amount. Yes, they need to follow that process, which they know, and then, again, we'll offer their wine for sale.
So we do need to acknowledge it and set a
set
date,
date.
which would be November 18th for the date of hearing.
Correct.
Okay, I will make a motion to acknowledge the application for a temporary alcohol license from the White-Headed Robin Winery of Viborg and set date for November 18th at 5:35.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Acknowledge a letter from South Dakota DOT right-of-way acquisition to Lake Herman, and I'll ask Chad if he has something he'd like to address on that.
Sure, I can do that. Included in the agenda packet is a letter dated October 31st from the South Dakota Department of Transportation, and also a letter from Mayor Lindsay from June 17th of 2013. Prior to the June 17th letter, there was a meeting with the City Commission, and prior to that, some meetings with the Rec Trail Committee. And what was discussed was looking at different alternatives for continuing the trail towards Lake Herman, which is identified as a goal in the comprehensive plan, and which with we received some earmark funds that with a highway bill where we were able to utilize those funds for that work among other expansions, already on Highway 19 and on Highway 34. And so what this letter was just to ask the DOT if this alternative, what they referred to as option D in their letter, which is basically extending the trail from Washington Avenue westerly on the south side of the bypass, and this option D would stop at Union Avenue. Of course, it would also coincide with the hospital project. That, according to some of the cost estimates we have, that would utilize approximately the remaining funds that we have available through the DOT to terminating that at Union Avenue. And this letter that the DOT provides back says that, yes, indeed, we can use that route and pursue this. And also it talks about some of the same earmark funds that were expended in right-of-way negotiations and that process, that we wouldn't have to pay those back, because we proceeded in good faith efforts and tried to work on that, but we're just realigning and utilizing these funds for this actual construction at this point. And so I guess I can answer any other questions you may have about that as well, but that's my interpretation. What may happen after this, provided the commission is receptive, I would communicate the disposition of the commission to the DOT and ask them to either proceed or not proceed. The next step in this would be they would present us with an agreement that we would consider, much like previous agreements we've had for the Highway 34 trail reconstruction, the Highway 19 extension, and so on and so forth. They would bring forth another agreement that would basically lay out the terms of this option D in terms of utilizing these funds, these remaining funds, if that's the wishes of the commission. You would have an opportunity to, this isn't a final approval anyway, actually it's like acknowledge, but any final approval would be when that agreement would be coming.
And I'm liking how the letter is allowing us to do that, because then that allows us twofold. One, to continue the rec trail toward Lake Herman, and number two, make it much more accessible for people to walk to the hospital and back if they would so desire. Not necessarily as a patient, but maybe to visit someone who's a patient.
Right.
So. Okay. Other
You may
questions or comments?
I'm sorry, you may recall, Mayor, that also probably about a month and a half ago, the commission also approved an agreement with Lake County where that was one thing that the state wanted to see, was that we had permission, so to speak, to utilize that route, because it is county right away, and of course we did enter into that agreement. There is provisions in that agreement that we coordinate with the county, and they get to, obviously, we're going to coordinate anyway, but formally in the agreement talks about them reviewing and making sure this is an acceptable manner in which we propose to construct the trail. If one wants to get an idea of what we might anticipate having that trail look like, you could just look along Highway 34 going to the east, because it's going to be near the right-of-way, about like that, 5 to 10 feet away from the right-of-way on what's referred to as the back slope, the opposite side of the ditch from the road. So that's kind of what we would anticipate. All those details will be worked out in the future as the necessary steps take place, like I mentioned this, and then the agreement and so on.
I make a motion to acknowledge the letter from South Dakota DOT for right-of-way acquisition to Lake Herman.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Acknowledge a letter from U.S. Senator John Thune in response to the Lewis and Clark Regional Water System. We had received letters in the past and that from our other representatives, and we wanted to acknowledge that we had received one also from Senator Thune.
I'll move to acknowledge the letter from U.S. Senator John Thune regarding Lewis Clark Regional Water System.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Old business, second reading of ordinance 1548, setting speed limits in school zones. And we'd had this first reading already, and this is the second reading. Questions or comments? Not all. Entertain a
I make a
motion.
motion to approve second reading of ordinance number 1548, speed limit in school zones.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. New business. First reading, ordinance 1549, water rates. And I will ask Jen if she would want to add to this one.
Okay, just a couple comments here. This water rate ordinance increases water rates about 3%. You'll notice if you look back on previous water ordinances, there are surcharges. One includes a couple surcharges. You'll just see one surcharge here tonight. Surcharge A, which has been effective for quite some time. We've made our final bond payment in 2013, and surcharge A, as of the end of the year, will fall off. So the surcharge listed here tonight is surcharge B, as you all passed back in April of 2012. This surcharge will be effective with the December billing that's payable in January. And it is for the current improvement project right now out at the water purification plant.
Comments,
Questions?
questions?
First reading tonight, second reading 2 weeks from tonight.
Which would be then
18th.
November 18th.
I would move the approval of first reading of ordinance number 1549, an ordinance to amend Chapter 22 Water, Sewer, and Sewage Disposal, Article 2 Water by amending Section 22-24 regarding rates and charges.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 2, first reading of ordinance 1550. You have one in your packet. We also have, I'm going to say this is an amended one. And that, Jen, would you want to address that
Sure.
as an option?
Sewer rate ordinance also has a rate increase of 3%. Also on here, the BOD and the TSS as listed there increased 3 cents per pound. And then as with the water and electric rates, outside city limits pays 50% above additional.
And this brings it in line with
Correct.
the other resolution
Correct.
ordinances that we
It's
have.
already in those other ordinances.
It's in the other ordinances and that, it's just not in this ordinance. So then this brings it into the same as the other one, as the others. Dick, did you catch what that?
Yes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Can we just approve this as
First
presented?
reading, yes.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 1550, an ordinance to amend Chapter 22 Water, Sewers, and Sewage Disposal, Article 3 Sewers and Sewage Disposal by amending Section 22-119 regarding user charges.
Second.
Okay, and we are talking about the one that is A, B, and C. Just so that we're on the same page. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Okay, number 4, authorize the mayor to sign a biosolids processing agreement with the city of Sinai. And I will ask Fred on this one.
About a week and a half ago, I was contacted by Benner Associates, they represent the city of Sinai. Now I gotta do this right.
Mhm.
And they are having some serious issues with their wastewater treatment currently and are close to being in a non-compliance situation. They're working close with the DNR to rectify that problem. This is an agreement to basically pump out their package plant that they have right now, bring us the solids. Initial load's probably gonna be about 40,000 gallons. We'll put that directly in our drying bed. We've checked with DNR, everything's fine with that. It will go through its normal process in the drying bed, so it's not gonna create any problems actually help out the small city and kind of keep them out of the regulatory non-compliance issues. So I would ask favorable consideration for this, with the mayor's authorization to sign.
When this came up, Mr. Mayor, Fred kept me in the loop on this, and I guess I posed several questions in what I thought was due diligence as far as our capacities and other things, and also reasonable fees we were going to be getting. And I'm satisfied that Fred has done a good job in checking all the pros and cons, so that this would be a win-win situation both for Sinai. It's very good for us. It's a
Very good.
doable project. So I would also, and with it, I will move to authorize the mayor to sign the biosolids and process agreement with the city of Sinai.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approve the purchase of a lime slaking system. And again, I'm going to refer to Fred.
This is the lime slaker down at the water treatment plant. We have gone through this for the past couple of years with the budget process to get this squared away. So I think we're in a position now to get this ordered. It's a 2014 item. I have what you see before you as a sole source justification for that particular system. The reasons are stated in this justification letter. It is a unique piece of equipment due to size constraints at the plant. What we're going to purchase is a direct match, so it's pull one out, put the other one in, hook up the piping and electric, and fire it off. It limits our downtime, or basically keeps that down to a couple of days if we can get this done. The fear would be if we put this out for bidding war for everybody, that everybody try to sell us their equipment. But as you've seen the tour of the plant, you know the area that this does sit, right on the clarifiers to the right as you go into the plant. It's really, really a tight area, and it's going to be a little tricky trying to get the equipment in there. So there's no room to actually build out or add to without affecting the direct operation of the plant.
I don't want to speak for Fred, but I reviewed the sole source issue with him. And I think maybe one of the larger issues is the infrastructure that would have to be torn out and redone just to accommodate any other type of this unit. So if we go outside and say we get another one, we're stuck redoing all of the infrastructure, tearing out and redoing, which will double or triple costs quickly. But it's this particular model is the single source that allows us to not incur more costs in moving forward. And that's essentially why I ultimately also signed off on the sole source bid and the justification.
Very good.
And again, Fred had kept me in the loop, and I knew he was working with David on that as well, so. And again, I think Fred has indicated that this has been planned for in the budget process, I think for more than probably the last 2 or 3
Last
years.
couple years.
We've been talking about this. So this isn't anything of a surprise. It's something we knew were gonna need to do.
Necessary maintenance and move forward at the most reasonable cost.
With that, I'd move the approval of the purchase of the lime slaker system and the sole source purchasing agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You also have attached some personnel issues. On that, if there aren't any questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion,
Go ahead.
make a motion to approve the personnel recommendations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no other new business in front of us, do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.